Are you looking to integrate your level measurement device onto a field bus or into a control system? SITRANS LT500 has more options than any other device on the market. Let's start with the simple protocols like HART, Modbus RTU, Profibus PA, and Profibus DP. We have the support files and documentation in order to pull any and all of the data out of your SITRANS LT500 and integrate the device over those networks. But let's talk about something that is really exciting that can provide a lot more functionality: Profinet, Ethernet IP, and Modbus TCP. I'm certainly not the expert when it comes to these communication options, but luckily for us, somebody is here who is. Mark, thank you for joining us.
Hi Matt, thanks for having me.
Now, I'm going to turn things around on us today, Mark, and I'm going to be the one asking you the questions because you're the expert. What is exciting about these new Ethernet-based protocols that we can look forward to?
Well, Matt, there are a lot of serial protocols out there which work very, very well. However, troubleshooting can be a little bit tricky sometimes. So, if a device goes down on the network, it can affect other devices on that network. In addition, you can have noise issues or grounding issues, which can also be problematic. Moving to an Ethernet-based protocol, we're now dealing with a point-to-point connection, which, from a physical point of view, actually does make life a little bit easier to troubleshoot. Not only that, on the Ethernet-based protocols, we now move into higher speed, more data throughput. So, for example, on Profibus DP, we would have a typical data rate of maybe 1.5 megabaud, whereas now at Ethernet we're up to 100 megabaud. So we're something like 60 times faster. Plus the amount of data we can move on Profibus DP, it's 244 bytes. Whereas now on Ethernet, we're up to 1472 bytes. So again, 6 times more data we can actually move as well.
Wow, so a lot faster. And on top of that, what's really exciting for me is the fact that we're integrating a web app right onto those communication cards. So Profinet, Ethernet IP, and Modbus TCP are all going to have a web app right on the card that you can connect to your PC, configure your device, monitor the device, read any maintenance and diagnostics, alarms, and you can do that anywhere around the world. So it's a completely open and transparent connectivity to the device, and it allows you to do anything that the device can do, which is really exciting, and you don't need any additional software. So now tell me a little bit more about the Profinet option.
Well, Profinet being one of the world's leading protocols for process automation, it's deterministic, real-time, and device status, of course, which makes it ideal for the process industry. Not only that, but Profinet also offers device replacement. So for example, if we took an old SITRANS LT500 out and replaced it with a new SITRANS LT500, the device would automatically come back online. Not only that, Profinet also supports a profile standard, so devices from different manufacturers have the same object model look and feel, which means great interchangeability and interoperability. And finally, of course, with Profinet, we have the device I/O controller will go and look for the device on the network by its network name and then issue its IP address to it, so it drastically speeds up commissioning.
So lots of advantages there. Now, what can you tell me about Ethernet IP? Because I understand we have an EDS file with an AOP, and I'd like to understand more about that.
Well, Ethernet IP is based on open Ethernet protocols, including the Common Industrial Protocol, or CIP. Now, Ethernet IP or CIP is very well established. It's been around for many, many years. But in addition to that, of course, we have the EDS file. Well, the EDS file is used to configure the device in the host system's configuration software. So let's say in our example for the SITRANS LT500, we have an enhanced EDS file, which means the data has been formatted and tagged, and it means that the user can actually take that information directly into the PLC without writing one line of code. Now, in addition to that, some manufacturers do offer add-on profiles or AOPs. These AOPs are typically used for doing advanced configuration of your device, in the same way that you would use semantic PDM to configure a Siemens device.
So again, ease of integration with Ethernet IP.
Absolutely.
Now lastly, Modbus TCP. What can we look forward to with that protocol option?
Well, Modbus TCP again is extremely popular. Now, it doesn't have acyclic communication or UDP, but It's ideal for applications where you want to do a lot of I/O data exchange. Modbus TCP is ideal for that. Now, most of the HMI and SCADA vendors throughout the world all support Modbus TCP. So despite Modbus TCP, not being as sophisticated as Profinet and Ethernet IP, it still has its place.
Amazing. So not only are these new protocols faster, they're easier to integrate, and they're more flexible, there's a whole host of advantages over other non-Ethernet based protocols. I'd like to thank you for joining me today, Mark.
Thank you very much, Matt. You're very welcome. Well, there you have it, the SITRANS LT500 with 7 communication protocols, which helps you level up from measuring to mastering.
Because it makes sense.